We'll call this meeting to order at 18:30 hours, give or take. Ian is here, Philman Allen's here, and Dan is here, the town crew. And approval of minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes as written. And I second all of the above.
All in favor, say aye. And the new business would be healthcare. Options, whatever.
I don't know if anybody read the Reformer today. There was an
I did.
article, I want to say, is it Wilmington or Dover? Maybe Dover. Yep.
Over.
That did a nice job of...
I read that. I thought that was timely for us.
Yep. And that kind of sang the same song as what we're singing
Basically,
here.
yeah, we did.
Very nicely. So we need to pick a plan. And this is if you read that article, it described it well, that these plans aren't about care, it's about how the town will fund health insurance for employees. So, the highest level is you pay the most in premium, and the lowest is the bronze, that would be
The highest would be the platinum.
the platinum, where you fully fund that premium, where the lowest is the bronze, which is a significantly lower premium, but you fund a higher level in the HRA.
Here's some monthly premium versus that. I'm just currently we are paying the current amount that's being paid is $513. That's up here at the top of every sheet.
Yep, every sheet has our comparison of what we currently are doing at the top. I don't know if you want to look at this or you've seen this.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So we've had the good fortune of having a plan that's had an HRA for the last 2 or 3 years, so we have some history in terms of how that's been used. So in terms of making a selection, if we were to fund a plan that has a higher HRA contribution, that's money that, if not used, is retained by the town and can be carried over to help offset costs for the next year. Or if you went with the platinum plan, you pay the premium, off it goes to the carrier, and you don't get that money back in any way, whether medical coverage was needed or not.
There's one thing I'm a little fuzzy about. She went through all this stuff really well, but on each sheet they have like these side by sides, and they both talk about their VHC option number 1 for both of them.
One has an HRA, one does not.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, I mean, I see that. So they're just showing you that you can get any of these plans with or without the HRA option. So comparing apples to apples, say what you just said again then. If you were saying if we did the platinum plan, for example, paid the top level premiums with no HRA, that's money just gone.
Yep.
And then you were saying compared that to pay the silver or the gold or the bronze, looking at the premiums being significantly lower.
You fund a higher HRA.
But you could do full funding of HRA for a single person $7,600. Okay.
Versus $2,500 in the platinum. But you'll see the difference in premium there.
Yeah. In total budgeted premium, or total budget with the HRA, yeah.
That's picking up the
Yeah, so actually doing the lower premium with that fully funded HRA is more expensive.
Yeah.
It is more expensive, but at year end, if you don't spend your HRA, which we would not.
Well, we have not.
We have
no
not.
history of
No,
Is that HRA picking up the deductible?
picks up everything.
Picks up everything.
It would feel no different than what we currently have.
that. And although it's a higher initial price tag, we would, assuming that our history stays pretty much what it's been,
Yep.
which is that we've
You can already drop that price tag of 136,388
down
bronze.
to one
Take 24,000 off that
because
we already have carryover money from our prior HRA.
so you could
Offset that cost.
so take what did you say 20 something
24,000 ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
26, 16,
Probably more.
So 112.
112, yeah.
Which puts you right next to the platinum coverage on page 1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, I have no question about the HRA, especially now the employees are managing the HRAs, correct?
The employees will manage their care.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll deal directly with insurance companies versus, I think Penny has been the one to do that. So in terms of registering and getting yourself into the Connect, each employee has to do that on their own. I mean, we'll obviously have a thing on the website.
I had an HRA when I was employed in,
Mhm.
at the supervisory union, and it was actually, I was a little apprehensive, but it was pretty easy
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah. And there's, we've been using a company called Choice Care to manage our HRA up until now, and there have been fees that are associated with administering our HRA program. Now going into this, we won't have those fees anymore. It's a free service offered through Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be a transition over, so the cards that everybody currently has to use will go away and will be replaced
Will be
by...
with Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah. So there'll be lots of administrative changes that we'll have to work through.
Well, I think as long as the bronze, if the HRA is covering all the other expenses.
I mean, if it's going to feel what it feels like now, and we ultimately will, because our employees, you know, as we've said many times, we value the work they've done, and we feel like this is a good and important benefit to be able to offer them. You know, I have been concerned about as new employees coming on that, you know, the way of the world is employees are going to ultimately have to make some contribution, whether we offset it with salary or whatever, because that's just kind of the way of the world. But I think in this transitional time with the people we have and nobody's going anywhere, then I mean, I feel like that it seems like that would be the way to go.
You just got that word, right?
Yeah.
Pretty short for salvage. See this, Sheriff?
We're all going to go to work for him.
But also,
We
too,
had job interviews today.
roadside, that's where they conducted them. Also, too, where we don't know where we're going to end up with all of this.
You don't know if that insurance is going to last for a year.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could
We
be
don't.
back exactly to where we are. And
We don't know whether Vermont was going to go. We don't know where the Fed's going to go. So
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
be in favor of
keeping it as close to normal until we have a better idea
Absolutely, I
of what
agree.
the
Yeah.
forecast looks like.
whatever plan we put out. You guys got to do your own management of it anyway.
First
Yeah.
year's gonna be a nightmare for everybody.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
There's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Well, should we make a motion to that effect? Do you guys want to weigh in? Do you have any thoughts about
I
that?
didn't know. I just told the guys if you guys were going to make the decision tonight, if anybody had any questions, to show up,
Yeah.
because I didn't know what was going to take place. So.
Right.
So
But-
two employees that are having health insurance, it won't feel really any different in terms of the care coverage that you have.
The management will be where they feel.
Yeah.
they-
You just have to do your own paperwork. That's all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we can offer some kind of, initial support with the paperwork,
Yeah, I
like
mean,
a little tutorial to start it off.
Well, we'll all need a
Yeah.
tutorial. We're going on, Penny and I have an appointment on right when we arrive at Town Fair
Okay.
to meet with Health Trust folks
Mm-hmm.
to tell them all of our stuff and get kind of a preview of what we have to do in terms of making the switch. So-
See, the biggest thing is, like, I don't have a computer. go
Right,
online
and that's
to
what I'm
register,
saying,
you
we
know.
would get,
Yeah,
once we kind of get a feel, I think we'll have to enter everybody first, and then people will have to sign on individually, and it'll just be a matter of coming over to the town office, and we'll get
Yeah.
people signed up, and we'll have to work through it. We'll figure it out. We have no idea how
And
to
then
do
people
it.
have to like keep their receipts and submit them to get reimbursed?
I-
Is it a
I don't know how
reimbursement?
I don't think so.
No, I
No,
think
I
you-
think it's with you guys now. You just use your choice care.
well, you,
that's
well, you
good.
gotta
That's
call and make sure your choice care is
Yeah.
active, because if you don't use it for like a month, they deactivate the card.
Well, that's
So
ridiculous.
you
But
have
that
to
might
keep
be
calling
different
and make
now
sure,
with Blue
make
Cross.
sure your card is activated.
I would hope
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
different.
So it could be different with different.
Yeah.
It's quite a process to get paperwork through that choice card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully that will be
It can
a
take hours.
smoother process with Blue Cross. I hope, but I don't know. And Penny has been on our health insurance and is going to do a buyout as well, which will be an additional savings.
Okay.
So you'll see her drop off and do the same program that I do.
Mhm.
So that will help offset this even more.
Well, I'll make a motion then. I mean, I think if you guys are, understanding, yes, it'll be more paperwork, but the level of benefits will stay the same, and the level of financial, you won't have to encumber anything upfront financially as we get going with this. Then, and I do still see, I know it's a higher price tag, but I see it as potentially saving the town through the rollover of the HRA and through that initial
Yep.
money that we have to put in it.
You made a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that we go with the bronze, the Blue Cross Blue Shield bronze standard package with the town funding the HRA, fully funding it, and see how it goes this year, and see how it goes for you guys. Get feedback.
We expect sometime along we're gonna have to.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's a tough pill.
I
always.
just didn't think it was right to slap you in the face with it
Not
this
with
year.
all everything else that's going on with all these
Yeah.
I
changes.
mean, that is a big benny, so.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So yeah, it's gonna have to change down the road probably a year or two, but for now it's.
Well, and we may be able to
Well,
do
you
it.
can
Who
have this
knows what's gonna
discussion for
happen,
the fiscal
John?
year
That's-
15
you don't-
budget process.
Right. Yeah.
Which is
Yeah, we don't know. There are
on
just
the
too many
tracks.
unknowns. I think that's well said. And
It
it
is.
would also be, well, we'll see how, they're just wants it.
It's also difficult because you're making a decision on a plan for half of the year that we've already voted on a budget for, and the other half of the year we haven't even
Mhm.
touched yet because the insurance
It's
is on a
in
calendar
calendar
year.
There's two things go along with this plan. You can't get sick and you can't get hurt.
Well, kind of leave me out.
Yeah. Just watch out for never mind, I won't forget. All right,
I just
yeah, it's,
don't go to work then. I get hurt more home than I do at work.
okay, yeah.
Thank you, Alan.
Probably got a tougher boss too, don't you? Yeah. I don't know. Receivables for RLF, whatever RLF.
Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, Al. This is kind of a after the fact thing that was surfaced through our audit, which is further down into the agenda. But one of the things that we did, remember the revolving loan fund?
Mhm.
That we had those two loans that we could not seek repayment on, and there's liens on the properties for that, that we wanted to be able to move them into our books, not write them off and get rid of them, but place them on it so that they appear on our balance sheet, but they don't show on our, when I have to report in for this fund to the community development program. So what we did was worked with the accountant and with Lori to create a notes receivable account so that they'll show up and not be lost. So there's $9,500 for Reed and Mary Fisher, and there's $9,025 for Gail Hartley, which make up $18,525. And there's a remaining 9 cents that we're going to write off for Candace Stoneman's loan that she had fully paid off. It's just kind of a, I guess, a journal entry 0.9 error. So if you could authorize the creation of the notes receivable account to house the delinquent accounts
Sort
for
of
which
a-
we have liens. It's an accounting formality.
Sort of identify them in a way that it's
Yeah.
there, but
Yeah, not for lack of effort of trying to contact and seek payment, but it's still on there. We know they're there, and if they were to sell their properties, we would be paid out. So.
Okay, so it's on the record. So I would make
Correct.
a motion that we create a notes receivable account to house the accounts that are unpaid from the previous revolving loan fund.
all in favor?
Aye.
Right. This next one is a fun one. Time recording, town staff and elected officials.
I think you will recall that we have talked about before people that are paid by the town who do not submit their hours in a timely manner and submit after the close of the fiscal year. We've faced that again this year, where we have a person seeking payment for hours in June, and we've already closed out our books on fiscal year 13 because we are in September.
When did this person submit?
Today.
Oh, okay. That makes
So-
it easier.
It leaves a bit of a quandary. I had said to Peter and Penny that you can pay them for July 1 on, but we're going to have to figure out how to take care of the hours that are from last year when we've already closed out the year. And one of the things that we did in closing out the year, if you recall, we did some line item transfers, and we took the remaining salary that was there and moved it into the appraisal fund because of all of the remaining salary for Frank. And then it was important to do that knowing it was coming down the pike and we perhaps haven't saved enough for it.
Well, I'm going to say that I feel like we have tried to give fair warning to all employees for any number of years about this practice. If you had said it was during August when the books were still open, because when did the books finally close, really close? It wasn't
August.
until well, August 1st, yes.
But the thing is that we had spoken to everybody at length and said, we need your time in before this date, we need your time in, this is the final payroll, this is the final payroll, and everyone seemed to get it in without a problem. And
Before
even if it-
July 31st or before?
Before June 30th.
Yeah.
This is the final week. Everybody knew that. We've been excellent at that, and people who hadn't been great at getting that in got it in. And it's one thing if it was a week late,
Well, that's what I was
or
asking.
2 weeks late,
Yeah.
or 3 weeks late, but we're hedging on 3 months.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're deep into our audit, so
Yeah.
that if I have to do adjusting entries,
Yeah, I'm sorry to say, but I don't even know who we're talking about. It doesn't really. It's better that I don't. I think that we have to just say.
I just need to figure out how to deal with it. But what I was hoping we could do is craft a policy that a very quick one that says, all time must be submitted in this time frame. It must be for administrative staff. It must be on this timesheet. For the highway staff, it must be on this timesheet. Any and all time not submitted within X.
So, do you think until we have that policy in place, we are going to need to do a journal adjustment?
I don't know what I'm going to have to figure out what to do, but it's going to be late pay regardless. So there could be, I don't know.
Could you make it mandatory, like once a month? You have to have it in.
We have.
Yeah,
you have
it's
said this
been-
again. I mean, you've said this repeatedly. What
And it's
makes
been
me-
over a few years
Oh
actually
yeah,
that we've had the
absolutely.
same
I
discussion.
think since before you were here, actually. And I mean, I remember Bill Nightingale, frankly, and way
Oh, I
back.
got
Yeah, he was a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, my instinct is to say I'm sorry that we were very clear. If you have any kind of paper trail, did you send out emails to people saying? you
I'm
need-
sure Penny did.
Yeah, because I would prefer to just say you are, we can't accommodate you. This would be the amount of time it would spend for people to do this at this point in the game just doesn't seem like a reasonable thing to do. I would feel better if we had a policy in place that said that. So it would be just like, but
Yeah, and it's just quick. Everybody uses the same timesheet. We all use the same timesheet anyway. You
it's
guys all use
kind
the
of,
same
it's
timesheet.
kind of an amazing thing, actually. I think there are a lot of places that they'd be like, "Are you kidding me? You're submitting 3 months later." not going to
Yeah,
happen.
and the thing, just to kind of, and then I'll shut up, is we're trying very hard to keep expenses in the appropriate timeframes so that we can look at our history and see this is how much we spent in this year, where if it starts to trickle over, it could kick off the budget for this year. So it just, tip it over at year end.
I guess I'm going to make a motion that we deny payment for work done in fiscal year 2013.
Prior to,
Yeah, that was not submitted until over 2 months into the fiscal year
Yeah,
14.
I'll double check with the Vermont League of Cities and Towns and see what our legal
Yeah, that would-
obligation is in terms of that.
I just feel like we cried wolf with this one a lot, so
all in favor?
I,
EZRP EMD work quarterly maintenance.
Just so that you could say all that.
Yeah.
This is Herb's quarterly checklist for emergency management for
Okay.
the second quarter of,
Okay.
actually, excuse me, the first quarter of fiscal year 13. So if you wouldn't
Just
mind,
want me to sign that?
yeah, if you would authorize Dick to sign that.
Authorize me to sign this?
please, I make a motion to authorize you to sign on behalf of the board. My question is this, have we seen this every
Oh, yeah.
quarter? Gosh, okay.
And actually, Thursday night, there is a meeting at the firehouse where Herb is going to, he went to an LAPC meeting, this meeting is gonna be an update of the future with VY closing and everything and all that, some of that.
What time is that meeting?
6 o'clock, I think, yes.
That's my meeting at 5.
So, and as far as we know, the drills and everything is still going on.
Sure,
but-
makes sense, yeah.
but,
We'll go on until the plant closes. And
I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
So there is that, old business.
You asked me to put this on the agenda.
He's trying to
I did.
remember why.
Ancient roads, I tell you why I put them on it. There probably are, or there should be a few of the ancient roads in town that we need to try to resurrect and get back on the map.
Can I ask
Not
what
the ones we
happened?
want, but the,
What happened with that discussion with, the layout of the ancient roads where,
we got one put on. The one with Bill Joe and I was supposed to.
yeah.
I think I sort of went by the wayside. Actually, Bill mentioned the other day we got some work to do. But I don't want it just to be Bill's opinion and my opinion. I think it's something we should, Dan's here, you're
Sure,
here, Katie's
sure.
here. My thought would be nice if we had an east-west public corridor between Hollow Road and Route 5 and Hollow Road and Center Road. And as far as trying to put 100 ancient roads back on the map, it's, number one, it's not going to happen, period, and it's a waste of, with the meetings and hearings and stuff you have to have, it would be a downhill battle, uphill battle all the way.
So you're kind of, you're changing your feeling about that, am I correct? Because it seems like for a while there was a big discussion about getting them all
It's-
back on.
Well,
Yeah,
the
it sounds
watch.
like you want to pick ones that make sense.
Yeah, I mean, at this juncture, because February we're losing, period. So time is of essence right now.
I thought it was 2015.
Now, unless they extended it again, I know they keep
I
extending it.
thought it's always been
but,
2015.
Maybe we could double check on that.
Double check on that.
And there was a meeting with Matt Mann and, discussion about what needed to happen in terms of.
Yeah. And that was sort of a meeting to clean up the mess that we created by sending all that stuff
Right,
upstream and not having it documented.
right.
Yeah, there are tons of roads I'd like to see back on the map, but you gotta come back and you gotta have
Right.
a hearing and you gotta have another hearing. And I think if we could eliminate it to 4 or 5 or something that
So
really.
you go to the map for those
That
4 or
amount
5
to
you
something,
want,
yeah. Actually, this one right here, Jeff Nugent put that on the map, he laid that out with the original layout.
I remember the discussion about that
And it
one.
followed that except for the layout, the old
Is that
layout
Potter
routed
Hill
out
or
here.
is that, what is that?
Huh?
What is that road? Which one?
That's from the Carpenter Hill to the Stage Road.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he said that came out pretty perfect all the way across there,
Yeah.
except for that 130 feet off, which moved it to the top of the hill versus down in the Maples where it's coming up now.
Right.
And that one, we couldn't find where it was discontinued, so I think that one can go back on the map.
So, and then I would expect that you, maybe, or you and Bill, anyway, would choose those 4 or 5 roads, or is that what you wanted other people to
That's
do?
what I wanted other input on,
Mhm.
yeah.
Does it make sense to take a map and draw the ones on there that you're proposing and people look at it and weigh in?
Yeah, well, Dan, is there any, it would be a help to you? I mean,
Well, we just have to sit down and see which ones would be the most sensible ones.
that's what I'm, yeah, something that,
Like Dickie was saying, the main quarters.
Right, right.
So is the idea to keep them open for a foot trail system? Or is the idea to keep them on the map with the idea for hazard mitigation planning that they could
It's-
potentially...
some of both. I
Okay.
mean, I can't see, it's always been in the back of my mind, the Army Corps of Engineers coming in and saying the Green River Basin making great water supply for Greenfield, even though it does anyway, but I mean, and that would wipe out that whole road section down there, and you'd have a hard time stopping the Corps of Engineers if they decided to do that. But I mean, there's roads like this extension of the Cactus Corners Road, that's the one that's up in the air anyway because it discontinued at town meeting.
Right.
There's just some of them that are used pretty regularly by horseback riders and snowmobiles
Sure.
and stuff that should become both available for the public on a permanent basis. We're going to lose them if we don't.
Well, I like the idea, because I feel like you've got a better knowledge than, because you've been really studying this, not just because you've lived here a long time, but of proposing 4 or 5 that you feel like, and then us sitting down and taking a look and sort of hashing over which ones make sense. I mean, that one that Jeff Nugent done, that's obvious, and that sounds like that's going to be
Yeah, that's
okay.
been used for trails for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, so then you would choose maybe a few others that, I mean, I think of, you know, the ridge along Weatherhead Hollow that goes down the hollow. Is that a trail or is that?
That's actually an old town road that has several distinctions down through there. Some of it has been town trail, some of it's class 4, some of it's logging road.
That just goes along the ridge line
It goes along
behind
the
it?
ridge, it starts, yeah.
Yeah, on some snowmobile and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
It's, and I hate to lose them, but I don't, and I had, talking to one resident the other day, he said that, I don't wanna commit to putting them back on the map, and he made a statement, if somebody gets hurt, I'm liable, and I said, no, it's the town trail, it's the same as the town road,
Right.
it's not.
right.
I said, unless you put barbed wire across it, somebody runs into it,
Right.
yeah. And he said, well, he said, he said, it kind of interferes with the work I want to do.
Oh, interesting.
And he said, I said, would you agree to a lease type of thing, which is the other option we talked about at one point, having would you give me right away so many years for
Trails.
trails, yeah. The problem is if they go back into class 4, you have no control over what travels them.
Right.
If we can get them back to class 4 and get them downgraded to a trail, then we can regulate.
Yeah, but I think if your idea of doing that with just a few makes, for a while there was talk about doing that with a lot of them.
It was, and it just got some mind boggling,
Yeah.
and a lot of them were dealing with it discontinued anyway.
Yeah.
And,
And you got property owners don't want people
yeah,
Yeah, don't.
going down, don't want them going down through.
yeah. And it's, you know, like you said, I grew up there, so I mean, some of the roads I used, Landon roads, I used to
Sure.
walk on all the
They're near and
time.
dear.
You can't even go near now.
Yeah.
And,
Well, that's what I would suggest. If you can make, I mean, I don't know if you want to involve Bill in that as well, or,
I do, but I mean, because he's got all the stuff on
but I
his-
think just for that initial discussion about the priorities, I don't know who you'd like to involve in that discussion, just like
Yeah,
board, just
well, I think anybody that
has an opinion.
that happens to watch this meeting and hears this talk should have some input.
Well,
in
what about getting your roads together that you want to propose and then holding a general public meeting? Whoever
Do
comes,
that too.
comes, whoever
Do that
doesn't,
too.
doesn't. But it would be a
Oh, yeah,
great,
that's a good idea.
I think it's
That would-
important.
That would kind of compress the process.
Yeah, because other than that, you're gonna have to have a hearing to even put them back on the map. And if you had
You have
a,
to do that anyway.
yeah, you're gonna have to do that anyway, but,
But if you get the public's participation from the get-go, you have a better shot of having it happen.
there's one road that Herb and I walked 4 or 5 years ago. Then once the people found out we walked it, we don't want cars parking in the yard and we don't want this. There again, most of the old roads went right by a house. And some,
And it might be, if there's a property owner next to that is agreeable to a trail, you could go have a conversation with them and they might be, even though the road doesn't go that way, they might be more than supportive of having a town trail go through their property.
some are willing to move the right of way away from the house to have that privacy.
Yeah, and it is, it's just having a conversation with folks.
But that's with all things that started out gung-ho and it sort of fizzled out, but we gotta do
Well, I think
something.
it fizzled out because, as you said, you became aware of how much work was involved, and it became more and more complicated.
I think Bill and I spent Tuesday after Tuesday in here that one winter, and the more we found, the more.
Well, you guys spent a lot of time.
So yeah, I guess the reason I had to put on it is to bring it back to the forefront.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I like the idea of creating a proposal and then having a public meeting. I don't know, I'd be interested to see who, if anybody, would show up.
Yeah, it would save a lot of grief if we had.
It also ties into the whole community visit, because that's one of the topics that we
Yes, it
discussed
is.
last week, which was town parks, trails, and something,
Yeah.
recreation.
Parks, trails, and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good. Yeah.
So you might
That's
want
a
to have
committee.
something.
That's a committee, isn't it?
Yeah, so you need to be on that
Yeah.
and get your map ready.
That's a
They're
great idea,
highlighted.
to use that process to.
It would, you have your
publicize.
public meeting right there.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay, library painting, there's nothing else on that, the library painting. Follow up.
She's writing down to get you on that committee.
Yeah.
my reminders, so when I fill in later. During the last meeting, there was some question about the painting at the library, and specifically whether or not lead practices were followed. And I had emailed Eddie Charbonneau, who was the contractor, asking him if he could give me some insight. So I don't know, do you want me to just read his response?
I do, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Katie. Regarding any concerns about whether my crew and I followed lead-safe practices for contractors, I am both state certified and EPA certified. I have communicated several times over the last several years with the Vermont Department of Health and Lead Safe Vermont in order to ensure that I have been in compliance with lead safety guidelines. The lead-safe work practices we followed in Guilford on the library included: 1. Limited access to the work area with lead warning plastic tape. 2. Covered all areas where there was scraping with 3 mil thick plastic sheeting stretched from the base of the building out to approximately 20 feet. 3. We wore protective clothing. 4. We misted painted surfaces before disturbing the paint. 5. We did our best to not generate lead dust. 6. We cleaned ourselves up as best we could so as not to transport lead dust beyond the work area. 7. We diligently cleaned the area around the building after we finished the job as best we could. I had both a HEPA vac and shop vac on site throughout the job, and both were used regularly. Thank you for allowing me to reassure anyone with any concerns regarding these important issues. I would be happy to discuss any of this further in person. Eddie.
That's fine for me, I'm good. I don't need, I'm glad he looked that up, I'm glad we could read it for the public record.
Okay. And I didn't include his invoice tonight because I wanted to just be sure that you guys were
Do you have any
satisfied
concerns?
with.
No.
Okay. Then he will go for next time.
Okay. Website, get back over here, website. Give it.
Okay. Oh, I don't have it on this one. So, Peter has been working diligently on loading the template for the website with content, and we're having a training on Thursday, I believe, to figure out how to do some things that we don't know how to do just yet, which are add photos and some of that. But the content's all
I
there.
want to see Dan's picture up there.
Okay, we'll put him as the poster. We can just put him on the banner page.
Yeah.
You want the
new-
camera to break?
with
or
the
what?
new truck.
Yeah.
And so we're pretty much ready to go live. We had a little work session at 6 o'clock to give a preview and you guys to navigate the site and see if you were okay with the way the template looked and the content that was in there, and if you are
I would.
supportive of it.
I was joking, but I am serious. I think it'd be nice to have some photos, if
Yep.
you could, like
Yeah.
Penny Marine, picture Penny, if that's
Sure.
if that's easily doable.
And I mean,
think
it's going to take some time to get savvy at all that. But
Let my beard grow and put on bib overalls.
so we're looking
yes,
into the
exactly.
we're-
Plaid shirt, please. Do.
We're looking into the cost of a custom picture on the banner page. And as soon as we pretty much have our training, we were hoping to go live because it would be helpful in support of the community visit program that we're going to be doing to have the website live for that.
Well, I would like to first of all say that I think we should give Peter Hetzel huge thanks. I was really
Yeah.
impressed. I think it's very, very easy, intuitive.
Yep.
And I'm really appreciative of the work he did. And I'd like to move that we, as select board, approve getting the site live.
Sooner rather than later.
Yeah, as soon as the training's over and you've had people had a chance to take a look at it. I don't think it needs that much training. It's very intuitive. It's very, you just go, you click on what you
Yeah,
want.
it is.
Yeah.
And that was,
People are getting used to those whole, it opens up a bunch of drop downs and
I mean, we each had, we each took time, we sat with Peter, we edited. It was a great process, I really have to say. It was organized, it was collaborative, it was awesome. It was a great,
well, thank you. Thanks to everybody.
yeah, he did a great job of really guiding us through.
Is Dan gonna say?
Yes. The
There was
road
highway department.
highway
on there.
department has this link.
Yeah.
Where were you? At 610.
I was trying to tell you about my,
Your foxes, I
I was
know.
gonna
You're
say, there's a fox and a cat.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Professional audit.
I just wanted to give you, no. We had the auditors here 2 days last week and 2 days the week before. They are digging deeper than they ever have. There have been some changes. They're starting to look more at some of our organizations that they're going to be considering component organizations, which are the library and the fire department. So we started to kind of dig into that, and I'm expecting to get more feedback from her in terms of how we're going to handle them in terms of reporting.
Speaking of which, Steve West,
Yes.
do we need a motion on that?
You could pass a motion, and you could tie it into the website if you wanted
Okay.
to somehow, but even though it's not.
I mean, not really, because what he was doing is really
He's
doing,
also going to take down our old website.
he's going to take down our old website.
he's
He's
gonna-
going to do ongoing maintenance on and backing up to server and all that stuff.
Yes.
Is he proud replacement,
He is
so to
proud
speak?
yeah, he's proud replacement.
So do you really need,
A motion?
yeah.
You could just to formalize it if you want
I felt
to.
like we did because we had that proposal. We were going to wait to hear from him, and then we decided to go ahead and engage his services before we had talked to him. Correct?
Wasn't clear on that.
There was
But
a-
if you wanted to clarify that now, I'd be fine with that.
Well, I would
Okay.
just move that we engage his services ASAP. The reason it came up is that it sounded like without some of the work that he was being done, it made the audit more difficult.
It did.
Yes, and that's why I thought it'd be good to.
Okay, yeah.
I would make a motion that we engage Steve West Services to. I thought there was an email about that just recently. Regardless, ASAP.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you about the audit, but I just.
Not at all.
We went backwards, I was just ready to say, Dan, you're up, but y'all done with the first.
No, backwards to sideways.
No, and I'll give you, we were talking about the timesheet piece back there. They pulled a bunch of our payroll samples.
Did they?
Oh, yeah. And if they were to pull that one would be very difficult to explain our way through. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's great that they're doing as in-depth, I mean, they're asking really,
a lot of questions.
oh my God.
Yeah.
We got literally nothing, I got nothing done the days that they were here. Directing them on where they need to look up stuff and then explaining, she'd say there was a miscellaneous revenue in highway for the amount of 32 blah, blah, blah. Can you explain what that is? Like, I'm going to need to look. It's, a year and a half ago. I needed to, and we have the documentation.
Come in and explain what the difference between salt and chloride was. Because she didn't really understand what the difference was between that.
Yeah. And we had to explain budget variances and, each year we fine tune how we report out our finances. Like, for example, repairs.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, why is it so off? And I'm like, well, mid-year last year we created individual accounts for each piece of equipment to start to track. Yeah.
So we used to do that before, and then when we went to the repairs, we just did a one lump sum. So now, for the last year, during the middle of the year, Katie switched it to
Back to
tracking. Still got that lump sum for the total figure, but
but
you
tracking
know what
actually happened.
Yeah.
Dedicated each
Right.
vehicle.
Yeah. So we just have better history to know how much we're spending by piece of equipment.
Right.
So once she's like, so there's more accounts. I go, you're missing like 10 accounts to get a real picture. So they're like, oh. So then we had to pull all that information. So it's a work in progress, and it's, we're doing a lot of things right. We have fixed assets reported out this year, which we hadn't cleanly done in the past. We made a lot of changes with that. So every year we're picking off the things that were weaknesses from the prior year, fixing them, and then we get more weaknesses that we pick off. So
Yeah. There's always something. Yeah.
there is always. So it's tedious, but it's going well.
Good.
But we are just expect that there's going to be a pretty lofty discussion about the library and the fire department coming up. And what I actually asked is if they do decide that they are component organizations, then I asked if Erin would have a conversation with the select board, the trustees of the fire department, and the trustees of the library, so that we could all be around a table and understand that this is required through our audit, and that how do we move forward. So
Yeah, that would be very helpful.
yeah, I think it would be. So she's agreeable to that. So we'll wait and see how it all shakes out.
Did it?
That's it.
Get up, Dan. Fire away.
Capital program. Back in '06, we started a capital program. It was when we bought the first, or actually the second 10-wheeler. Calvin was on the board back then. So we started a.
Okay. I thought I was on the board when you started.
Well, I think you were on the board too.
Not with Calvin, because I remember your famous quote about it, explaining it.
Yeah,
Well, working.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we set up a capital program, and what we did is at the time we did it, the 1 tons were at five years, and we wanted to go 7 years on the dump trucks,
Right,
and 10 on the grader, tractor, loader, and the backhoe.
right.
But we had too many years all falling in
And at the same time.
in the same time,
yes,
so
I
we
remember
decided
that.
to stretch the trucks out to 10 years. The big truck. So the tractor we had just got rid of was 12 years old, and the next one was a new 1 ton that's on our 5-year program,
Uh-huh.
and I have a 1 ton that I got prices on, and we have a buyer for our older one, which we're looking at about a little over $61,000 between the difference between trade and purchase.
So.
It'll
when
be
you say-
another Ford 550. Same thing as what we got now with a wing on it, but it'll just be newer. It'll be automatic transmission instead of a standard.
So just so I understand, we will have 2 1-ton trucks.
Yeah, we have 2 1 tons now.
Right, and we're replacing,
We're replacing the older one, the
Right.
08.
right.
And another thing we're going to have to think about too is when they do the rehab on the covered bridge down there, they don't want us going through the bridge with heavy equipment. So we're gonna have to send a small truck through there.
The 1 tons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I may start doing that this year, to do a couple dry runs to see how it's gonna work.
And this is what you called me about, which we never connected about, but
Yes,
I did
yes,
tell
I did.
Dan that you were making an effort to bring me up to date. Yeah.
I mean, it's something we've been
Yeah.
we've been discussing, but we haven't really finished with the final. On the bottom there is what the difference is as far as the.
So that's what we have to come up with. That takes
Yeah.
into account.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we put in 150 a year, and so far our capital budget is working out real well with that.
Yeah.
Both pieces of equipment we'll be buying, we'll be paying. We won't have any. They'll
Yeah.
be paid for.
Yeah. Good. So what do we need to do at this point?
All you gotta do is just say, hey, you know.
To the purchase of the
Yeah.
trade.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry we didn't get a pink hat.
So it would be supporting the private sale
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
2008 1-ton and the purchase of the 2013
Yep.
from Gateway
Okay.
Motors.
Yep, that'll be right at the bottom of that figure. It'd be the 61, 180, 158 plus.
158. Right.
Plus
And that's with a 6-year.
tractor.
Yeah.
And that's with a 6-year warranty. It'd be the exact same thing we have now,
Yeah.
except for an automatic transmission.
Well, you mean on top of the purchase of the tractor that we've done?
Yeah, the tractor.
You said the tractor's
We
not-
need to yay or nay now.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
no, the tractor's already been approved.
Yeah, we
Actually,
Yeah,
you'll
the
be
tractor-
signing off on the
Yeah,
tractor.
you'd be signing on that.
Yeah, the
And that
invoice
was
for the
a-
tractor is in
That might have
the
been
warrant
chasing
tonight.
monkeys.
Right.
Not the mower, but the tractor.
No, that's the total figure of the tractor with the mower.
Right.
After we
Okay.
would trade and
Right.
the other, the leave back gone.
Right, that's what's to say, the lead back
Which
was
would be
on that too.
68, 55.
Right.
But I do
So,
have to tell you that.
is the leaf back on?
No, he hasn't.
When all that goes, can you let me know so I can
Yep,
take
matter
out
of fact,
fixed assets?
yeah, well, I think he said he wanted to
Yeah,
come and get
until
it
we
this
actually
week.
take
We
receipt
talked
of it and
next week.
actually let it go. I'm not
Right.
gonna
Put in
touch
the bucket
it.
on.
Because I have to call for,
Oh,
And
we'll have to do the insurance as soon as I know everything.
How about the mower part?
The mower ain't due to be
There's too much cutting
shipped
and
until
loading to do it.
So we'll get a
October
separate
6th.
invoice
Pretty
for
soon
that.
that'll-
Okay,
that'll
that's
be a
perfect.
separate
Nope, that's
invoice.
perfect. I'm
So
gonna
we're
actually
sort of
list
sticking
them
with the big
separately in
one?
fixed assets.
Oh,
just so
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
so let me see if I can get this correct in terms of motion. We're done with the tractor.
We're
We
done
made a motion. We
The
did-
tractor's all done, and that's,
So what we need to make a motion is to approve the private sale of the 2008 1-ton and the purchase of a 2013 1-ton as is specified in our capital.
yeah, in the capital plan.
All in favor?
And that's with a 6-year extended warranty too.
Right.
Yeah.
And I called him today to try to get him down more on the price, but he wouldn't.
Wouldn't budge.
He wouldn't budge.
Did you find out anything about the plow frame
On the,
tractor?
yes, it can be done.
Can be done.
Yeah.
That put it over Big Blue, doesn't it?
No, we didn't discuss any prices. We can do that one later.
And we just, paving?
So is everything all set?
Yep.
Yeah, well,
Smooth.
yeah, we're all done with that.
Oh, okay, all right, well, I didn't hear nothing to,
There's only one of me to go aye.
okay,
Seconds
paving.
automatically rolled into the bush, yeah.
The center road from Route 5 to the Blueberry House is done. The MT3 raised all the structures and the water valves. We had to replace 3 what they call rings with manholes. And then there was one water gate when it was the first one as you come off Route 5.
Yeah.
Evidently, when they must have paved, they hit it.
Uh-huh.
There was some halic,
Oh, I was
and
gonna
they
say. This was
it
my
pulled out of the sleeve,
Uh-huh.
and it all filled with dirt. So they had to do a little extra hammering around there. But the rings are going to be a little extra because we didn't plan on putting all new, your new manhole covers. And I probably should have just went ahead and done them all.
known that we were gonna have to redo
Yeah.
it.
So, I mean, they were all in bad shape because the
Right.
brick underneath them were
Right.
all smashed. So everything's it's that new style system they put in. And Michael did a very good job. And there's still got a few bumps on the manholes when you hit them, but I mean it's
Yeah.
a lot better than what they were.
I know.
So the biggest thing with them, I mean, they're right in traffic. They're right where the
Oh, yeah, you're gonna,
right in the wheel ruts where you're going to hit them. So, and then they shimmed the rest of the Guilford Center Road from the old town garage up to the intersection of Sweets Pond and Stage Road.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that yet.
Tomorrow they're gonna finish putting the top on. And then that'll be all done. I had them come back up this morning. When they paved up around the school, I had everybody want to know why we didn't pave where the buses were parked. So I had them come back in and pave that parking lot this morning, so that's paved.
Is that gonna be an extra cost?
Oh yeah, it's an extra, they used 100 ton on it, so I
Yeah.
mean, and it looks like between that, the extra tonnage right there, they were under ton on some things. We're probably gonna be looking at maybe 100 ton over total.
So what's that gonna compute to in terms
They
of?
figure $75 a ton,
Okay,
so.
okay.
And then as soon as they get that done, I'm hoping maybe get safety lines in to finish up the center lines, all the stop bars, and get all that stuff taken care of before the cold weather sets in.
Yeah, okay.
So, and then that will be all done.
So when you say safety lines and you're talking about the painting, the center
Right, the
lines
painting.
and the edges along the.
No, we're not going to do
That doesn't do it.
the only thing I did this year, because we have to pay for the center lines. So the only thing I had them do was just the center lines.
Are we eventually gonna do the?
Next year, the state will come in and they'll
The
spray
sidewalks.
they'll spray our center lines, and then that's when I have them do the edge lines.
Okay. I think those
But I mean,
edge
if
lines
you
are,
guys want them to, on that new pavement, to do the edge lines, I'll have them do the white edge lines. You're talking 2 miles.
I mean, it's just, I think those edge lines help a
Okay,
lot.
I'll have them,
I think on the new,
When are the
yeah,
center lines getting
Yeah.
done?
Yeah.
just as soon as they get done paving.
Okay.
I'll try to get them in here between
yeah.
the end of this
Yeah,
week
it's
and
good
next
way
week.
because it's gonna be covered up with snow another month anyway. But,
Yeah,
but still, it's,
Oh, so I'll just, on the new stuff, I'll just have them do
I
center
don't
lines, the
appreciate
edge
it.
lines.
I think it's, it's a funny safety issue where you obviously need the center lines, but I think those edge lines.
Well, do you want to know how much it would cost to do the center lines?
You
I mean
mean
the edge lines.
Sure.
It's usually like 3 cents a foot or 4 cents a foot
For
for
2 miles.
one single line.
So we're gonna be talking about double line. So if we said 2 miles,
It'd be 8 cents a linear foot.
I
You're
can't
looking
do
at like I think it's like
$8,000 maybe.
$900 a mile.
Oh, okay.
for 2
Something like that.
miles.
per one line, a mile. So it'd be like 16.
18, 3,600.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Do you want to do a
know.
little quickie math or no?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. What is it? 4 cents
A
foot?
I'd have to look it up,
3 a
but
foot. So it's
I think it's 3 or
double
4
it.
cents a foot.
So 6 because you have to do both sides. And you said how many miles? 2.
You got 2 miles.
This is just the center roads we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
30,
Unless you want them to do everything. I mean, that's.
I think the center roads to me the
36.
So I'll just have them do the new
2 miles,
pavement.
$900 a mile.
5,280 times 2 times
Oh, God, you're gonna
0.03, 0.06, right?
.03. Oh,
it'd be
0.06.
0.08 if it's 4 cents.
$633. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Then-
Yeah.
Money well spent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
But you're right. We should have asked that first.
What are those called again?
edge lines.
Thank you. I was gonna say
The
fog
center lines
lines.
are
Are they
the
called
ones in the
fog
middle.
lines?
Oh, actually, they do call.
When you use
I was gonna
They
say
call them
fog line,
fog
but I'm
lines.
like, did I
Yeah,
do
they call them a fog
okay.
line.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be like the one I was following the other day, it was straddled a white line. I kept saying, no, that's the one you're supposed to keep.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, with no lines.
Then after they get done doing the paving and stuff, they'll come back in a couple weeks and do shoulder work where it has to be done with the
Okay.
shoulder machine and.
Just out of curiosity, I assume they're going to be painting stop up by the school.
Yes.
Yeah, just after that was.
Yeah, right over here, yeah. Oh, yeah, they'll do a stop here and a stop down below.
Great.
On all the roads where you come on, like Tater Lane, we'll be doing that one. Stop, he'll be putting that one back in.
Huh, okay.
You know, with the blacktop where you come out.
Yeah.
Down at the end of Route 5, there'll be one.
Yeah.
He's got 2 to put on the Hollow Road.
What's the status of that tater line narrowing that thing?
We haven't, never
We still need our
discussed
sign
it.
inventory.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still waiting to hear from Wyndham Regional on
Yeah.
what they recommend for our speed limit signs and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna reach on. Don't, I've got to not say.
I'm gonna have to get after,
You know what?
what's her name?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get hard objects thrown at me whenever I walk in there.
I'm curious to know what the status is of those things, that's all.
That's okay.
Because I just got all my signs that I ordered back in June.
Mm-hmm.
All my road name signs. And finally the rest of the hardware and the post came a week ago.
Wow.
And it's been since June, so I won't be using that company again. But we're going to be out pretty quick putting all new signs up.
Good.
So,
And grade Tater Lane pretty quick.
not this week. I'm gonna have to start. I'm gonna have to put some chloride out. We did Bonneville Road today and
Dusty.
real dusty.
Gosh.
All right. And what else you got for an update?
Other than that, we're just going to be setting culverts. Basically, we're all different places around town. And then we're doing our fall grading, and we'll be out blowing leaves here pretty
Yeah.
quick and
Yeah.
cleaning
It's coming
culverts.
right up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, that's about all I got. I mean, as far as
Well,
there's been
I do
the-
appreciate your negotiating that you do when you're looking at new equipment. I think that Guilford taxpayers should be grateful as well, because I think you negotiate hard for us to get the best deal you can.
Yeah, and you've established great contacts and relationships with
Mhm.
people.
yeah, I mean, it's.
Mhm. That's
One of
huge.
the things that we had, I mentioned earlier that our capital program should be updated. You know, as far as, you know, because that was 06 when we did it.
Yeah.
And it
Hopefully
should
that'll
be
what it
up,
is.
brought back up to date on it, so.
I'm assuming that it makes the best sense to do that in our budget process.
I would guess just probably that would, if we make any major changes, it'd have to go to,
I think that would be when it would make sense to just review it, don't you
It's
think?
actually
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it's just a spreadsheet with
yeah.
a replacement.
What year is
Schedule
it?
of columns on
just doing a spreadsheet, that's not,
Yeah.
See, one of our biggest things was we always kept things way too long.
I know.
When you go to get rid of them,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
They're
They have no
worthless.
value.
you don't get nothing
Yep.
for them.
And you're stuck with a big
I've got to update my
fat
file. I've got to stop looking.
payment with a lot of interest.
You keep digging, you.
I'll keep digging, I'm not finding. I was just looking for the old capital plan that we ended up. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
I mean, the
Okay.
best example of that is the 2006 International, of why we shouldn't finance vehicles, because the amount that we paid in interest for that,
Yeah, but
It was
it was like
ridiculous.
30, no,
Yeah.
26.
it was more. It was more than 1
26,000.
year's
Yeah, it was like
payment.
26 or 30,000 for interest.
Right.
It was, I think
Yeah.
it was in the 30s.
I mean, and we used to
and
do things all the time that way, and I'm so glad we've moved away from
See,
that.
last year we didn't do nothing because we had the last payment on the 06. And then the other 1 ton that we got, we had the last lease payment on that one.
Yeah,
too.
that was
Yep.
paid off within
So
a
we
year.
ended up not doing nothing just to get rid of them
Right.
two. So.
Right.
So we-
Right.
So when this transaction is finished, we'll still own everything, won't be any payment.
Right, I mean, there won't be,
Right.
there won't
Which
be,
was a part of the real purpose of the whole
Yeah.
thing.
That's huge.
Yeah.
right.
To have no debt on equipment. Huge.
All right,
We'll have to stop by tomorrow and sign this.
okay.
Do we need a motion? on
Actually,
that?
yeah, I think
we
you probably,
did do a motion.
you probably can
Is-
sign it right now if you want.
Is that the 1 ton?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a motion, so you just
Yeah.
sign it. Yeah, okay.
Sign it sincerely.
Should be, he gave us the warranty that's on that. He gave us the better one for the same price as what we paid on the other one.
Where do I sign this thing?
Should be on the bottom of that page you got right in your hand.
So can you just quickly
gotta
refresh
take
my
it.
memory? Was it the
This one?
loader that we?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
It was
yeah.
within 1 year of us having it. I was pretty new working here, and we had like a $67,000 repair on it. There was some piece of equipment that we had an extraordinarily high
Yeah,
repair.
remember
Was
what?
it the backhoe or the loader? I'd have to dig back.
Did what?
We had a huge repair bill, but it ended up being covered under
Grader.
warranty.
Oh, no,
Was it
it
Grader?
was a grader, yes, it was.
Okay, sorry.
That's why I'm
I
a
don't know
firm,
my equipment.
that's why I'm a firm believer that
Extended warranty.
you may pay a little bit for them, but
What was the amount on that?
that
Just out
was
of
over
curiosity.
$70,000
Yeah.
just for the repair.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it was, well, that's
That's
like,
crazy.
for example, the backhoe, I just had to repin and bush that. And the warranty ran out on that in January.
Yep. What can you do?
And you went to,
10 grand bill.
yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
well,
what.
that free rental, that
They
costly.
gave me a break.
Did they?
Yeah, they knocked off some money.
It is. Big equipment's
But
expensive.
and I mean, like the grader, when we go to get rid of that, we should get some decent money for a
Yeah,
trade-in on
because
that.
it'll still have
Right.
value. Resale value is key.
So we don't have any permits.
No? Are you guys jumping right into warrants? It should
Mhm.
go. It's just,
Okay, warrants.
So in that warrant, you'll see for warrant 5 is included the tractor.
Okay, so this, hang
That's-
on.
The size of that warrant.
Okay.
In this warrant.
So you'll see
Yes,
42,000
yes,
or
I see it
some
right there.
amount right there.
And then they're not gonna put the mower on until sometime in December. I don't know if you heard me talking to Katie. They're not shipping the mower until the first part of October.
And put it on in December?
Yeah, and then they'll come down and get the tractor and take it up and put the mower on it. And that's when we'll be paying for the mower when it goes back up.
Do you need a pen?
It's under here somewhere. Okay, yeah, thank
Yeah, I
you.
mean, because so they're gonna bring the trick, because the tractor.
So are you saying that then we'll be charged for that later?
Yeah.
Yeah, got it, okay.
Because the harvest equipment, where we bought the tractor, would like to get their money before the end of the month and then get the tractor for trade up, so they can try to get rid of it. So I mean,
Okay. So did you get a chance to take a look at this, John? I'll go ahead and make the motion.
I didn't, I was busy with the website.
I'd like to make a motion that we pay the following payrolls for 9/15/2013 in the amount of $4,537.58, and for 9/22 in the amount of $5,389.43, for a total payroll of $9,927.01.
All in favor?
Right? Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, sorry, that's a warrant. And I'd like to make a motion that we pay the following warrants. Warrant number 5 in the amount of $86,120.73. And warrant 5DP in the amount of $178.50. That's just for those licenses.
Yep.
So that's what it's called.
Mhm, Fish and game.
What's
Direct,
the DP?
direct pay.
Thank you.
Because we
Keep
don't cut a
re-educating us.
check.
Yeah, okay, so that is in with these warrants, and these are the payroll separately.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just 2 small communications. Actually, there would have been more, but by the time the application for the wastewater permit was submitted, the rebuttal and then that permit issuing all took place, so I felt I could just put the permit on, which is for the Dutcher property on 118 River Road, which is replacement of failed wastewater disposal system. And then the second is a letter from
Two in there, just sign it on.
John Muse at USDA, just indicating he had heard some rumblings about the dissolving of the fire district, and if that were to take place, that the USDA would need to be a party to that, which we know.
We knew.
And that there's statutory obligations in dissolving a fire district, which we knew.
Yeah.
And,
He wasn't obviously watching our show because we said we knew all that.
I know. We need to send him the link.
I'm not sure where the rumblings came from because it wasn't from BCTV, sorry, Ian.
Anything else?
I will return.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.